All right, in 3, 2, 1.
Oh! This is the podcast!
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a podcast?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and
podcast.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hey everyone, welcome to Get to the Movies. That's Get to the Movies with the number 2. My name is Tiago D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
Hey, I'm motherfucking Eddie Murphy. And today, we're going to talk about me. Why? Because I am important.
Donkey!
I'm coming back, and I'm going to do my thing, and you're going to listen. Studios, call me. Call me because I need some money.
Wait.
Call me right now because I need some motherfucking money.
Let's do some
He
quotes.
don't need any. He's got that donkey money.
He's got a bowling alley.
Donkey money. I got some ass money. I got some this money. I got all kinds of money. But I still need some motherfucking money.
He's got a bowling alley in his house. I don't think he's.
But I ain't got a goddamn bowling ball.
He's good.
He don't have any bowling balls. That's
I
true.
have to sell my bowling ball.
It's a bowling ball-less
some motherfucking
alley.
He does need all that money for all them kids, though.
Hold him. He's got
10
10
damn
kids.
kids.
That's
You know how much
crazy.
these motherfuckers eat?
No, most of them are grown up now, though. He's good.
They don't just eat goddamn Cheerios.
It's true.
Wait, you said this last time. Is this a little racist that he's doing
It's
this?
a-
He's just
I
doing it
think
for
fine,
this
it's
is
racist.
You can do donkey. I feel like that's not racist.
How am I motherfucking
I feel like that's
being
more
racist?
No,
racist.
Eddie
that's
motherfucking
not more
Murphy.
racist.
Because it's not a black
I
donkey.
am Eddie motherfucking Murphy.
I feel like he
How am
doesn't.
I being racist?
How about we just quote him? How about we go, looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Lewis. Trading Places.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
That's
God,
how I went live.
Jesus! I just
Like,
brought
You love Trading Places.
I love
You know, when
that
I
movie.
heard that movie existed, maybe I saw it as a kid, but it was like on TV,
So
so they
wait.
cut out all the cursing and all the crazy stuff.
yeah.
So maybe I just watched it and I was like, oh, I always remembered it as like some adult, like Wall Street drama.
Oh, no.
Like I never.
So I want to go back
You
to the
watch
point
it
you
as
said.
an
that
adult, though?
funny.
You watch it as an
yeah,
adult?
I've watched it as an adult.
Great movie.
And I don't know. I always connected it with like the Muppets because of those two guys, and then there's two
Oh.
guys who were on the Muppets. Like
What
in
the
my
fuck?
mind,
You're
it was
all
like I
fucked
always
up.
had this weird.
Don Amici and Ralph Bellamy.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, it's the Muppet guys. They must be based on this movie, or this movie's based on the Muppets. Like, I don't know what the fuck.
So
Like,
wait a second. I want to go back to a point.
Yeah.
So it's racist for me.
It's
to
not
Eddie
racist.
Murphy? I was
It's
like,
not
I
racist.
was trying to make sure.
No,
that we're-
you're half black.
I'm not half black.
No, but he is from Brazil.
You're
which,
from Brazil, where
which
there's a
some
lot
of
of-
those
lot
guys.
of
But here's the
blackies.
thing. I just want.
Wow.
I just.
You can say that. I'm so out. Whenever you guys start talking about this, I'm like, I'm tiptoeing through fucking laser beams, okay?
But wait, here's the thing. You know, a lot of black community do jokes on white. Jokes on white.
Yeah.
The white
Yeah.
community and do references. So,
But the
it's,
whites weren't oppressed
in
for 400
respect-
years.
Yeah,
Like-
no, but I still in
Not in
respect.
America.
They're
Or anywhere,
you know, I
really.
don't know.
Well, yeah, I guess
Maybe one white
In Egypt,
slave.
I don't think they were
weren't
that white,
though.
right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
the Egyptians enslaved their own. That's Africa still, though, by the
Yeah.
way. But I don't know, because
Well-
all I know is England wasn't really for slavery. Like, they looked down on it as a practice for a long time, and they kind of ruled the world
Against
for a while.
their own people.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they're classes as fuck, which is basically like a mental goddamn prison and slavery. But what I'm saying is, no, for black, like with black people and stuff like that, they looked down upon that. Now, there still was the servant and the classes kind of thing, but in terms of slavery as a bondage thing, they looked down upon that, and they did kind of rule the world, or that area of the world, for a long time. So I don't get that. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Show me.
Well, let's not just dismiss that there were no
historically-
whites enslaving whites, because I'm sure that's
I'm curious if there were. But like I said, with the system over there and class system and the idea there was no middle class, like America, this is kind of where the middle class got invented, because you only had the rich, and then
Yeah.
you had the fucking everybody else, which were poor. There was no middle class. There was no.
I mean,
Yeah, the
you
middle class
still-
wasn't a thing.
You
There was
still
no
have
in
that
between.
in,
There was-
in America.
Yeah.
You still have the 1%, and
You do, but
know.
you have levels. You have levels.
It's
in
more
this-
tiered, yeah.
Yeah, it's tiered.
And
That's
it's you could take a Zuckerberg, and all of a sudden he's making 60 or whatever, 70,000 a year, and then he starts his own company. Now he's like one of the richest people in the
Multi-billionaire,
country. So you can't do that, or you couldn't do that
right.
in any other
Right.
other
So I
country.
don't know historically. That's actually an interesting question. Have there ever been whites that were enslaved? Like, there's
Yes,
obviously human
of
trafficking.
course.
There's human
Of
trafficking and
course.
stuff like that. So there is
If you go
modern day slavery.
if you go to like
in that way,
Eastern
but-
Europe right now,
in the way that
they're
we're thinking of.
enslaving
Yes.
their own people.
But we're thinking in terms of like the way we're thinking about it.
I don't think white and
Yeah.
slavery has ever been a big.
We got
thing
way off
at
topic.
all.
What the fuck
Yeah,
are we
I don't know
talking
what we're talking about.
So yeah, in terms of you doing the Eddie Murphy, that's the least racist thing
Yeah,
that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So
You're
I
fine.
look like-
You're
yeah,
fine.
I know I'm fine.
You're
I
fine.
just, I'm
I didn't
enjoying Eddie Murphy.
You can do his laugh though.
and he does such a great impression
Yeah.
that I love impersonating him.
Yeah.
So and y'all went into the slavery.
No, he did. I
dictating
didn't even
shit.
bring it up this time. You.
The white man.
Who is this guy? He's like-
see what the white man does.
This guy's
See what the white man does. He always have to go back to
I
this
didn't say
guy's
nothing.
whiter than us.
I said it was okay.
Always take
I gave
me-
him permission.
Look,
Yeah.
motherfucker, get your donkey and get the fuck away from me. Shut the fuck up.
This guy, by the way, you might be from Brazil, but he's whiter than us. Like this guy's
How am I
so
white?
light skinned.
That's
I'm
true.
Brazilian.
I'm tan as fuck.
We're all
I'm darker
pretty-
than
we're
you
all-
right
we're
now.
all pretty tan,
I'm actually
actually.
I'm darker than you right now, Neil.
No.
It's like, look at this.
No.
Who's crazy? We're at least
No,
exactly the
no,
same.
you're not.
No, look at
No,
that.
he's actually darker than you.
I'm darker than this black
No,
dude.
that's right.
What are you talking about?
Here's another white man trying to be
I don't
black.
even have to try.
You don't even have to try.
Yeah.
I haven't been.
You
trying
might be
either.
white. You might be darker than I am, though.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
white
yeah.
as shit. Yeah,
Definitely darker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you're
need to get some
definitely
sun.
Yeah, I
But
do.
okay,
I will be.
So Eddie Murphy, Jesus Christ, Eddie Murphy's "Dolomite Is My Name" is
Coming out
it's
soon.
yeah coming
It's
out,
not
or
even
it's probably
Dolomite.
maybe out by the time
It's
this episode
everything
drops.
he's doing.
Yeah, it's but what I'm saying is he's doing "Dolomite Is My Name." He's getting a Netflix special or two. I think he's getting like 2 Netflix specials. Stand-up comedy. He's returning to the world of stand-up comedy next year. He says he's going to tour, do a comedy tour. I'm so fucking excited because this is what I've been waiting for a long time. He says he's not against hosting the Oscars because he was supposed to host a few years ago and then he dropped out because the person who was directing it and got him also had to drop out. Blah blah blah. It was a whole thing. So he says he's actually kind of like he's up for it. If they tap him to host the Oscars, that'd be a whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
And I'm goddamn down for it. Eddie Murphy is one of my favorites of all time. There was a time period, as movie lovers, you're asked sometimes, what's your favorite movie of all time?
Yo. So real quick, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just saw this right now.
Yeah.
You're gonna be excited about
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Cops 4. IMDb.
Oh, don't go to IMDb.
Why not?
No, because it doesn't really give you the real
It's
information.
a potential top deck.
Yeah, but they've been talking about that
That
for
means there's
15
hopes.
years. Yeah, I know. They might. I don't know.
I mean, they're doing Bad Boys.
They're doing Coming to
four.
For
America
life.
too.
For life. Third one.
3?
Yeah, Coming to America 2, we know. They're filming it right
I
now.
don't think I watched the trailer yet.
The
for
same
that.
guy. Oh, okay.
Does it look good?
Yeah, it looks good. It actually looks really
Smart Lawrence look old?
good. Yeah, but he plays on that. Like, that's the whole point. He's trying to retire.
Oh, he's
they're
like
playing.
Murtaugh.
I saw. Did
Yeah.
you see the trailer? Yeah.
He's like Murtaugh.
I wasn't too sold on.
They
Mark.
need to do another Lethal Weapon. That's what they need to.
I actually don't want
before
one.
Danny Glover, like
I'm happy with those 4, and they're old now. Like, they're not going to be fucking running around. Like, they were old
What?
then. Danny Glover and Mel Gibson.
Oh, yeah.
Danny
Oh,
Glover
yeah.
is very
He's
old
too
now.
old
He's
for
like in his
this shit.
70s. I'm actually like, lead that perfect 4. I love those 4 movies.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy. So there, as a movie lover, for the longest time, I've been always, you're always asked, what's your favorite movie of all time? And I'm like, I've always been like, I can't answer that. But for the longest time, the only answer I could come up with was Eddie Murphy's movies in the 80s. Like, that was at least what I would say. Be like, if you could point to, now, I don't know how accurate that is because there's a lot of movies, but that's how much I love those, is I'm willing to put that, like a span of movies in that time period from
yeah,
that
he
one
started
actor.
the SNL trend of like SNL people starting on SNL and then going into movies. I feel like
Well,
that
Chevy
was
Chase did it before him. Dan
Before?
Aykroyd, John. Yeah, they're all before him because he joined.
Okay.
He joined the cast 80-81.
But he
of
kind of
SNL.
blew up though. I mean, he
he's the
became
biggest
like
star
a
to come out of
superstar.
even box office wise. He's the biggest star. But Chevy Chase was huge. When SNL hit in '75, it was huge, and several of those people, Bill Murray, Chevy Chase, John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, all those guys transitioned into movies successfully. But Eddie Murphy was the biggest star of the '80s, and he's also the guy who broke down the race barrier in terms of a black guy that could actually
Welcome
be
Panub.
the hero. What's that?
Welcome Panub.
Welcome Panub.
In all the
yeah,
wrong
in all the
places.
wrong places. Yeah. Book it. Jesus. Yeah, it was Buckwheat from SNL.
Yeah.
But he was the one who basically was like a guy who he wasn't a sidekick. You know what I mean? He wasn't like kind of holding the movie with somebody else or it's a strictly quote unquote black movie or anything like that. He was able to, like Beverly Hills
Traverse.
Cops, he was the star and the hero in those films. Like, and he was able to be that dominant force, and he broke down race barriers. And if you
Remember
look
this?
right after him, all the people that hit, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, all these people in the 90s, you know what I
Use
mean?
that.
Like, he paved the way, and obviously people paved the way for him.
Well, Denzel was also
Well,
there.
Denzel, but he was after Eddie Murphy. Like, he was late 80s.
But Denzel was-
early
Denzel was
90s.
doing like serious
It was
Yeah,
drama,
Denzel
but
was different.
yeah.
yeah, but Eddie Murphy even talks about like there was like
Yeah.
before that there was kind of this thing where it's like there can only be one at a time, like one
Yeah.
black guy, like
Yeah.
there was a star at a time, and then after that it's just sort of like then there's a bunch.
Broke
like
loose,
he
yeah.
broke that and he broke down those barriers, but like
Kid
those,
and Play.
I love.
Wow.
which by the way has a Dolomite thing. His dad watches Dolomite in that movie in
Oh,
House
really?
Party. In House Party,
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
way down in the jungle deep. He was a rhymer. Like Dolomite was basically considered kind of the guy who was the first rapper. Like he would do these rhyming raps in the movie, in his part of his stand-up routine that were very vulgar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so
when I hear Dolomite, it makes me think of the movie Black Dynamite, which is a fucking masterpiece.
which is inspired by those blaxploitation films.
Yeah.
So
Have you watched
I have
it
not
yet?
watched
Did you watch it?
Still want to watch it. Black
Please
Dynamite.
watch that movie.
Michael Jai White.
Oh God, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so
I
good.
do wanna watch it.
It's like I don't know what to compare it to, but it's like I'm gonna get you, sucker,
Yeah.
but like more ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
It looks
Yeah.
great.
Remember this scene? Eddie Murphy movie? Nick, you'll call it out. This is actually really good. What is it? That's my pee.
That's my pee?
That's my pee. Is it my pee?
Sounds like Life. Wait, what is this?
Oh yeah, Life. That might
no,
be
no,
my
that was
favorite.
good.
No.
Not
That's a
Life?
really good-
No.
No. Hold on. That's my pee?
That's my pee.
Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Nope.
No, it's not any of the Beverly Hills Cops.
No.
It's not any of his movies in the 80s.
Trading Places.
No, it's not
No.
Trading Places.
That's not
Wait,
an
is
80s
that the
movie?
exact line?
Yes.
Do a little bit more
It's
of the
my
scene.
pee.
Wait, who says it's my pee? Eddie Murphy?
Eddie Murphy.
It's not Shrek, is it?
No.
Is it Mulan?
No, it's when he was the holy man.
Oh, yeah, it was Holy Man. Yeah,
Holy
with Jeff
Man,
Goldblum.
Jeff
and,
Goldblum.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum. Yeah.
And he was like,
Renee
yeah.
Russo was
It's
in
my
that?
pee.
Huh?
Renee Russo? No, who
Was
was,
it
the
Renee
chick?
Russo? Yeah, there was a lady in that.
There was a lady in that. Yeah.
Was it Kelly Preston?
Oh, Kelly
Yeah, it was
Preston.
Kelly
Yeah,
Preston. I actually really liked that movie. I watched
was a
that
great
again a
movie.
couple years ago.
We need
and
to
I-
talk about Life, actually, because that's
Okay.
my.
We are jumping all over the place.
'cause
Can we go
we were talking
chronologically
before
real
the
quick?
podcast about how I'm not like, you know,
Eddie Murphy.
I don't idolize Eddie Murphy.
Right,
Like,
and
he's
I
just
do.
kinda- but Life, I completely forgot about that.
Great movie.
Life is my favorite Eddie Murphy movie.
Wow.
Like that
That's
would be my
interesting.
favorite.
There are a lot of people
I've
who
watched
love
that
it
movie
like
like
that
100
level.
times.
Wow.
I love that movie.
There are people who love it on that level that you're
Yeah.
talking about. I don't. Like, I like that movie, but I feel like I need to rewatch it because I keep
I've watched
hearing
it
this.
100 times. Like
So
I
funny.
don't know what it is.
Seen
There's,
it, like,
there's
twice.
something about these guys like in the that time period, and then they were like super young,
And
and
then
then
old,
like
transition.
60 years or something in prison.
Yeah, and Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy. That's a good
Yeah.
pair up.
And then even like the whole it comes full circle at the end when like the new
Yeah.
the thing at the end or whatever. It's like and in all the different characters, like all the different people they meet, it's like I don't know. I can't really think of another movie that is like that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe like what was the one with Great Escape guy? I don't know.
Oh, Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen, where he's like Pompilion.
Oh yeah,
Papillon.
yeah.
Papillon.
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 Whatever.
Kind of similar,
Pap smear.
but not as funny.
Yeah, it's funny at all.
Remember Daddy Daycare?
yeah.
Yeah, well, let's stop jumping around real quick. Let's back up and
To the
let's-
80s. Nick's
Let's
favorite
No, if we're gonna talk
era.
about if we're gonna talk about the career and the genius of Eddie Murphy, let's go back to the inception of it. Okay, this guy started stand-up
Pluto Nash.
comedy. Jesus Christ! This guy started stand-up
Norbit.
comedy when he was 15 years old.
Did
okay?
he?
Yes, on Long Island and in New York and in the city clubs. He was he started at the same time as Jerry Seinfeld. Did you watch the Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee?
I didn't watch the actual episode.
didn't watch it?
I
It's
just
great.
watched the interview.
Okay, you
afterwards.
should watch the Comedians. It's like 45 minutes long. It's like
It's
a
where
long episode.
Jerry Seinfeld says, what's his name was one of the best comedians ever. From
Bernie
you
Mac?
know, Bernie Mac.
Yeah.
Jangalang.
Yes.
Jangalang.
Yeah. So
Life.
in Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, they show footage of Eddie Murphy and like pictures of Eddie Murphy in like 1976
Yeah.
doing stand-up comedy, which is crazy. I never even really thought about it, but yeah, if he started at 15, he would have started that young.
Yeah.
And the guy literally did stand-up comedy, and then he went and tried out for SNL. Right, basically the cast right after the original cast left, so they didn't know what the future of SNL was going to be. And he got on, and he basically was like 19
Yeah.
when he got onto SNL. So he's doing everything really young. And this guy's talent was obvious at this young age. And he came through and he did this audition where he's being like 3 different people. So it's like this early incarnation of his ability to do all these different characters in one scene. And that's what got him on. But at first, they didn't let him do many. He was a featured player in SNL. He was barely being allowed to do anything.
Yeah.
And then they got a new executive producer who looked at him like, this fucking guy's really talented. Let's let him do more. And they let him let the reins loose, and this guy blew up
it up.
SNL.
Yeah.
And it became a huge show again, and it literally is the reason why SNL is still around today. It was this close to being canceled. Like, literally,
it
they
is
were gonna
funny. It's
cancel it.
like there's this interesting phenomenon with like new people in the entertainment industry where it's like if you're new, you're like, I got nothing to lose. I'm just gonna go fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And then you do, but then once you've like got millions and millions in the bank and you got your mansion and your cars and your hot wives or hot husbands or whatever the fuck, you like start to rein it in because you don't want to lose that.
Right.
Well, it's
so
not
then
a
it's like you pull back, and I feel like that's what he did a little bit.
Well, I think he reined
like
it
after
in for-
SNL, he's like, I'm just gonna do films. I'm gonna like go where the money is.
That's not right. That's not accurate.
I don't think
No,
for him,
first off,
no.
you're just saying that and you don't
Here
actually
we
have
go.
any. No,
Here
no,
we
because
go.
he did SNL
Agree?
from like
No, I
80.
agree with Nick.
Yeah, so he
Oh.
did.
Yeah,
Here's
yeah.
what he did. SNL, he gets on in 81, right? 80, 81. And then in 82, he does 48 Hours, his first movie. He's
Yes.
21 at
83?
the time.
Was it
82?
82?
It was 82. Trading Places was 83. So 82, he does 48 Hours with Nick Nolte. This is his first film. And the guy's 21 at the time, young as shit. And he holds his own in that movie, and he's amazing.
Yeah,
he's
no,
charismatic.
I'm not
and-
saying that he like
Well, no, I'm
gave
not-
up or that it was necessarily a bad thing, but now.
But if you know what
he's
happens
coming
over the
back
next
to
like
stand up.
yeah, but if you know what happens over the next few years, is he definitely did not hold back after
No,
that.
'cause you
So
have
he
Raw.
so he does 48 Hours. Nick Nolte's supposed to host. So he's still on SNL when he does 48 Hours,
Yeah.
right? Nick Nolte's supposed to come in and host, and then Nick Nolte basically falls out because he's like gets drunk on his ass or whatever, can't do the show. So then they get Eddie Murphy, who's currently a cast member, to host the show that he's a cast member on.
Well,
in
because
place.
he was like.
And murders it. And then in 83, he does Trading Places. He's still technically on SNL at this point. Does Trading Places with Dan Aykroyd, directed by John Landis. Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. It's so good. That's literally top 5 Eddie Murphy movies for me. Maybe top 3. Maybe top 2. It's so good. 84, he does Beverly Hills Cop. So he's literally just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
Beverly Hills
after
Cop's
hit
one
after
of
hit,
the
yeah.
biggest movies of all time. And he's still on SNL, and that's the year he leaves SNL. But, in 83, he did Delirious.
Axel Honey.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did Delirious in 83. 84, he does Beverly Hills Cop. He leaves SNL, and then he does Best Defense, which we can just skip over that one. He does Golden Child.
We're
then he
just
does.
skipping over
Then
movies?
he does.
Hold on, let me see what movie you're talking about because I've never heard
He
of this.
does a joke.
Oh,
He
Best
comes back
Defense.
in 85. He comes back in 85 to host SNL.
Oh, I saw this movie.
Yeah, Dudley Moore.
This was on TV recently,
it's
and
a
I was like,
fun
"What the
movie.
fuck am I watching?
It's
Is that
fun.
Eddie
It's
Murphy
weird.
with Dudley Moore?"
He's
like,
barely in the movie though.
but he's like driving around in the,
In the
tank or whatever.
yeah, the tank, yeah.
Oh my god! I this was on
So-
TV like a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
and I'd never even heard of it.
So that was his only miss in the 80s, okay? And he actually talks about it. He came back to host SNL in 1985, and he basically was like, they gave him the script for Best Defense, which he goes, "It's the worst fucking script I've ever seen in my life. Get this garbage away from me." Like, he goes, "How much money? Well, let's go." It's like, that's what Best Defense was.
That's what I was saying.
And that's
though.
his first temptation where they're like,
See?
here's a shitty movie.
Yeah, but
here's a
then that
paycheck.
pattern continues
Yeah,
throughout
so-
his later career.
No, it doesn't.
No, up and he's
What?
always been up and down.
There are a lot of movies where you're like, "Why did he choose to do that movie?"
because it was fun. Here's the thing. Okay, so let's go
because
back.
it was fun. Because it
So,
had money, man.
In 87,
He
does.
could have done whatever he wanted. Like he had all that Shrek money. I don't know why he chose to do like some of these films after Shrek that seemed like odd choices.
Yeah, but we're talking about a handful of films compared to a
Well, it is
bigger
a handful.
catalog. Yeah, it really isn't as bad
It'd
as
be like
people thought.
what's his name? Susan Sarandon's ex-husband. Tim Robbins.
That's a funny way to describe him.
That's how I remember him.
Yeah, that's true.
Tim Robbins. He's just done these weird, offbeat, corny B movies, and then he'll go win an Oscar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is up with this guy? Like, is it money, or does it just seem like in his mind is like this would be a fun movie to make,
Right.
even though it's gonna be garbage?
yeah,
But
Nicolas
you're
Cage,
like-
man.
I know we're jumping in time, but
Yeah.
you're not even including Dreamgirls.
Yeah, well, you got an Oscar
But he
nominated.
was very.
He's got
That was a short. He wasn't like the main feature.
no,
in
but
that
he
movie,
but
he was great.
He
Big
was
role in it. It was a
nominated.
decent role.
He was definitely nominated.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him at the Oscars, and he looked very upset that he didn't win.
He wasn't. He talks about that. He's like, that's not what happened at all. You just,
Well, he looked very upset.
You project onto it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm watching
Yeah.
Oscars. Like, I didn't watch any. This was like, was this before YouTube? I don't know.
Yeah, it was because 05, I think. 06, I think.
No, YouTube
Dreamgirls.
came out in 05.
Oh,
But
yeah, yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
there
so
wouldn't have
05,
been
yeah.
like clips on YouTube at the time to go back
Right.
and a
Maybe
breakdown
04.
of his feelings.
Yeah. But, okay, so 87. In 87, he does Raw.
Yeah.
And he does Beverly Hills Cop
Which
2.
is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop 2 is so good and I think it's underrated because if you look at the first one, I love the first Beverly Hills Cop movie. I think that second one's on par with the first one.
And
That's
don't
what I
forget the
think.
next movie.
No, we can forget that one.
Coming to
But-
America.
Coming to
I
America?
thought you meant Beverly Hills Cop 3.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
Coming to America was
88.
his next movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so Coming to America, which is John Landis, again, who he did Trading Places with, comes back, and they do Coming to America, which is so good, it's getting a sequel
And you
next,
have to
next
you
year.
have to see like he's not dumbing down. Like people are hiring him for these films because they know that he's gonna bring in the money. that he's that good.
And Coming to America is completely different than anything else he's done up to that
Prince
point.
Hakeem.
He's playing 4 or 5 different characters. His main character is unlike anybody else he's done. Prince
I don't
Hakeem.
know. You know what it is?
Come here for a haircut.
When you think of
One
garbage,
day,
you think of Hakeem.
When you think of
That's
garbage,
true. Like,
you think of Hakeem. I remember Rocky Marciano.
Oh, he's playing Mike T. Sharps.
I-
Like Sharps in the.
I don't know. You know what it is? I'm looking at it incorrectly because it's one of these things where it's like you see this person has all this talent and he's like cutting edge,
Yes.
like cutting edge comedy, like his like
breaking down walls in every respect.
Yeah, like his like comebacks in the even in like the earlier '80s movies, like the shit that he would say, you're like, dude, this guy didn't give a fuck. And then years and years later, you see him in some of these like family-friendly movies, but maybe it was because he had a bunch of kids and he wanted to make movies that appealed to his kids. Like I know a lot of actors do that, so I don't know. Maybe I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? Why are you doing this stupid ass
Right.
kid movie when you should be doing these like cutting edge comedies or something that we know you, that
But
we
if
love
you hear,
you?
But here's the
in?
thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
If you hear
That's
from a lot-
that's like my little upset. But
But-
he's still, he's made some incredible.
If you listen
fucking
to a
movies.
lot of actors, sometimes they do films that aren't going to be that popular to just try something different.
Yeah.
It is not about it being this big blockbuster hit. Is that they want to not be known as just maybe one thing.
The funny
and
guy.
they want to break out and try something different to expand their craft or try a different role. And I think that's what he did. And some of those didn't do well. Shrek did well. Shrek was amazing. It was basically one of those other. He did a couple other animation films where he did voiceover.
Mulan.
That,
Yeah.
which that was also incredible. He was like a star in that film, in that animation, Disney animation. But there was a couple other ones that he did that wasn't that popular. But still, I think sometimes it's hard for an actor when they're at their peak to stay there. And
It's hard.
Sometimes
Oh, I'm
you're
not
gonna
saying-
do
yeah, it's-
stuff.
it's
I
definitely
stay
not-
loyal. That's the thing.
definitely
I
not
stay
easy.
loyal. If the person has provided and gifted these great
Yeah.
performances and that I've really loved and attached to and have brought joy to my life, I stick with them. Like I honestly, like maybe later on, if it's like really bad, like I'm not necessarily watching all those
Yeah.
movies, but I never sit there and go, they're garbage, like or anything like that. I just go, I fucking love these
Yeah.
things that they've done. Like these are incredible. Like those
Yeah.
80s. That 80s run, and there's a lot of ones after the 80s too, but that 80s run, like Raw, you said that like you love Raw even more than
Yeah, I
Delirious,
love
which
Raw,
I did
yeah.
too for a long time, and I probably still do. I think I like Raw more than I like Delirious. That stand-up,
They're both great though.
they're both great.
yeah.
And they're so edgy, and they're so funny, and he's so comfortable up there. And when you see some of the, not blooper, like outtakes from like stuff that didn't get included in the specials for Delirious,
Yeah.
he like interacting with the audience and stuff like that, it's so fucking funny. Like he's so good at just being on stage and commanding this audience.
Yeah.
And Raw, I mean, he does the singing in there. He does the impressions. He does the whole thing. He's like, my dad used to, when he'd get drunk, he used to sing Motown songs, but fuck up all the lyrics. What you want? You know I got it. What you need? Baby, I got it. And all I'm asking is for a little respect, motherfucker. It's so funny. Everything. He does the whole Dexter St. Jacques thing where the woman goes and she meets, hey, what are you doing and crying there by the moon shimmying off the thing with the guy swinging his big dick? Remember that
I
whole
don't
thing?
remember, yeah. It's
You
been-
remember
it's
that whole
been a long
Caribbean?
time.
She goes to the Caribbean and she's sitting there on the beach, lonely. The moon shimmying off the ocean, and she's sitting there thinking, "You're a dumbass who's back fucking every girl in town." And then this guy comes by, this Islander guy, was swinging his big, huge dick, and he's swinging his fucking microphone. And then he's like, "Why don't you come home? I'll make sweet love to you, girl." And he swings it, he puts it on his shoulder like it's his dick. It's like every bit
yeah.
in those stand-ups are like infallible and perfect, and like
Yeah.
from the beginning to the end, and he's jumping between impressions and singing and funny things and things that make you think and things that are just fucking absurd, and it's like this whole bag of tricks. I love it.
I really liked. His next movie was Harlem Nights.
Oh, yeah, which he directed.
Yeah,
Richard Pryor and Red Fox were in that.
he
too.
wrote too.
Yeah,
he wrote and directed it.
Yep.
I thought that was a great movie.
yeah, I love
it
it.
was
Cast
a really
was
good movie.
Red Fox
It was
was in
incredible. It
it.
was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like the last couple generations of like the guys who kind of opened the door for him, Richard Pryor and Red Fox.
Yeah.
These vulgar comedians, and I guess like you're saying, there can only be one at one time. These are like the black comedians who kind of opened the door for him.
Yeah.
And he was able to direct them.
Yeah.
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 I understand what you're saying. I think Eddie Murphy is one of those legendary actors that possibly today there can be that look that they're dated.
Yeah.
But I think they over.
He still looks young. He still looks
He's
very
50,
young.
58
Well,
years old.
I'm talking about in their style and how they are, but I think like him, Dave Chappelle, and some other ones have figured out how to cross that barrier, how to cross that dated barrier, and use who they are, because there's a lot of great actors don't get in a movie for me and act like somebody else. They really are themselves in the film.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you love them. Eddie Murphy, Will Smith, Martin Lawrence. They literally do the same.
Which is funny
Same
because
per-
he said
No,
in
no,
this
I mean,
recent
no.
interview that he's not anything like his characters. That
which
he
was
plays.
probably the most surprising thing I've ever heard him
It's-
say.
He's like, I'm nothing like.
Because we all
anybody
think
I've
of him,
ever
he's
played.
Axel Foley, like in our minds, or
Yeah.
Reggie Hammond, or
Yeah.
he's like these guys. He's like, I'm not like, and if
Maybe
you
he's
see his
like,
interviews,
he's grown out of it.
guy.
and if
Maybe
you
he's
watch his
grown
interviews,
That's true.
But
He's
I
almost
think maybe
60,
he's grown.
yeah.
He's almost 60. So definitely people grow and change. But I think when I saw Eddie Murphy, maybe it's just me. When I saw Eddie Murphy in his films, and I saw him out doing publicity, and I saw him out, I saw him as the same person as I would see him in the movie.
right?
So,
But maybe
because
that was
he
a
was that
performance.
entertaining. Maybe he was just performing 24/7. You know,
Yeah.
maybe that was it. You know, but I think he and some of those actors, some of those other comedians and actors have said, you know, have learned how to take who they are and their style and transcend it into today's time.
Right.
Which I'm super excited for Dolomite, and I'm super excited for some of the projects.
His next comedy tour.
His next comedy tour.
He's doing a comedy tour
Yeah.
next year, and then he's getting 1 or 2 Netflix comedy specials,
Correct,
stand up specials, and I think he's gonna figure it out. Like he's
Yeah.
not gonna dilute. Like he's not gonna suck. It's as simple as that. He's not gonna go out there and not do a good job.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna suck at all because he's not. Yeah, he's not gonna like just show up to an audience and be like, "Hey, I'm Eddie Murphy. I haven't done shit, but here, let me start telling
Yeah,
some jokes."
and
Like,
here's
he's
some like
gonna-
nursery rhyme jokes that like nobody's gonna laugh at. Like,
Yeah,
he's
gonna create his routine.
Yeah.
and make sure it works.
He's not
because
gonna come out
that's
there. I saw a white man the other day.
yeah, exactly. He's
No,
not gonna
he's
come out
not
there.
gonna come
He's
out
not.
there like-
He can come out there in a leather suit with
That
a
would be
glove
funny.
on, with a
That would
ring
actually be
over the
funny.
glove.
Exactly.
Yeah,
if he's wearing like his exact. Yeah.
So I remember
get up.
when I did these videos with Michael Jackson.
yeah. Oh, and then that's the thing.
That's
he also
true,
was doing
yeah.
the singing, the party all the time, and
He did that. Remember the time?
he was
music
in the video. Yeah, which was
Remember
directed
the
by John
Time.
Singleton.
He did like 3 Michael Jackson videos, didn't he?
No, he's just in that one. But he did. Well, he did party all the
He may
time
have
with
done-
Michael Jackson. Like, no. What's up with you? With Michael Jackson, but Michael Jackson featured on his. Yeah, what's up with
That's
you?
right, yeah,
yeah, which was with Michael Jackson, him.
featured him.
Yeah. But remember the time was the one he didn't sing in that song. He was just
No,
in
he
the
was
video
just-
as the
yeah.
Pharaoh or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then in Harlem Nights was 1990, and then I think the same year he did another 48 Hours, which
Yeah.
I really liked. That's not considered as good as the original, but I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
And then he did Boomerang after that. Boomerang is a fucking great movie. Have you
Yeah.
seen that?
Yes, I
Yes.
have. Yeah.
92.
Halle Berry.
Yeah, Halle Berry, Chris
Robin
Rock,
Wright.
Robin Wright. No, Robin Givens.
Robin Givens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robin Wright. Princess Buttercup's in it.
Princess Buttercup,
Wallace
yeah.
Shawn's in that one.
That would have been great, actually.
Yeah.
if Robin Wright was in it.
Robin Givens, Halle Berry, Chris Rock, David Allen Greer.
Yeah, David Allen Greer,
Martin
yeah.
Lawrence. And Martin Lawrence is in that, right? He's the other guy. His other
Yeah.
friend. He's his other friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
That movie's so good. So I watched that when it originally came out. So I was 7 when I saw that. Jesus Christ. I was 7, and I just
parents would
that's
not
the
have
first
let
time
me
I heard
watch
about chicks with dicks. Was that movie. I was like, wait, that's a fucking thing?
This is a New York childhood.
Yeah,
That's what this
this-
is. New York City childhood. Like, if
They
you grew up
had
in New
that-
York City, you're watching these kind of fucking movies when you're 7 years old.
Seriously. Can you imagine as a
The rating means
7-year-old?
nothing.
Hey, can you imagine as a 7-year-old watching a movie where these guys are talking about chicks with dicks? Like that just at that your young brain, your young mind at that point, trying
that
to
even
process
mean?
that kind of I got what it meant, and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I think the worst movie I watched growing up, I mean, I guess it would be the worst, it was either Fish Called Wanda, Blazing Saddles, or
You mean in
DC
terms of
Cab.
vulgarity.
Those
Yeah.
3 films are like why I started saying the F word all the time.
Yeah.
Like
I
I,
don't remember
loved
what changed
cursing,
Yeah.
especially Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
that's-
would say the N word all the time.
I was born saying fuck.
Born to
You
say
were
fuck.
bored?
I
That's
was
the name
born
of his
to say
autobiography. It's
Yeah?
his autobiography.
Yeah, came
I was
out of my
born to
mom,
say
and I was
fuck.
like, fuck.
No, I had to learn it from DC Cab, or actually Fish Called Wanda has a lot of F-bombs.
It does actually. There's a lot
I
of
can't
F-bombs in
remember
that
if
one.
the film that intrigued me with cuss words and
Yeah, no, I was always part of it. My parents cursed, my brother cursed. Like everybody cursed
my-
around me. It was never not a thing.
Maybe they did.
I got called
I don't
out
think
for saying
so.
it in inappropriate situations sometimes. Like that would happen. I'd call somebody
I don't
a
think my parents
motherfucker that I
cursed that
didn't know
much,
or something.
if any.
No.
Maybe if it was like, no. I mean, they must have.
I
Or at
got
least
called
my
a
mom did.
cocksucker by my parents more than once as a kid.
No,
I
I
got
didn't even
called
know. I didn't even
A
start
little
saying that
asshole,
until
a little
like
asshole
Jay
or
and
a
Silent
fucking
Bob.
cocksucker. I got
It's like
called that.
after Mallrats, then I started saying things like cocksucker
Yeah.
and all that.
No, I literally like got called that because I would be such a fucking little cocksucker. I'd get called one. Yeah, so like that was always just part of. I don't know why. It was just everybody cursed around me, so therefore.
Well,
I
New
cursed.
York.
I guess it was New York. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably New York in the 80s, 90s.
Hey, you take the fucking trash out, you fucking.
It was never
cocksucker.
like that. It would have to be like there was like it was always anger connected. Well, no.
Oh, okay,
We
so
cur-
it's
no,
more
we
like
cursed
a-
in just conversational telling stories, but it was never like directed antagonism unless it was warranted. But it was just.
Can you see right now?
Or you just be
Neil,
like, oh,
Neil.
that's so fucking funny. Like, that's how you would say it. You wouldn't just be like, that is
Yeah.
so funny. It'd be like, that's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
You'd have to add it because it adds that little stank on
His
it.
dad
little,
used to read
true.
him bedtime story. Listen, you cockfucker. Three little pigs. Three little pigs.
Oh, words. Words are hilarious.
Yeah. So Boomerang was, I loved it though. I thought it was like, it was a romantic, he was funny because it's a romantic comedy.
It was actually
But it
one
just
of the
felt
first
so
films.
different. It didn't feel like it was relying on earlier romantic comedy. I feel like it kind of like created its own niche, its own genre, its own movie that wasn't reliant on earlier stereotypes or whatever. And it was like the modern, black, 92. So it was like, I don't know that there were any black romantic comedies at that level.
No, with the huge cast that they had.
No.
They're really.
And that's Eddie Murphy was always championing. He was always
Always
doing
championing,
these
yeah.
very, you know what I mean? Like just casting a lot of African Americans in his film. Like that was the thing. That movie is just
Boomerang is
like two white people
yeah.
in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like at that level where it was like A-list.
I don't know if I've ever saw Distinguished Gentleman.
I saw it in theaters
Yeah, I
when it
did.
came out. Yeah, and it was I remember it not kind of standing out as like didn't hold up to his other films at the time. I don't think it's generally considered. But it's funny you say that. I was planning on rewatching it recently because I don't think I've seen it since I saw it in theaters, which was 93, 94.
Yeah, maybe it's better now.
Yeah.
Better as an adult. I don't know.
Yeah. And then he did Beverly Hills Cop 3,
Beverly Hills
which I
Cop
saw in
3.
theaters as well, 93. And
But
that
he did a lot. I mean, he had a lot of huge hits after that.
Nutty
like,
Professor.
Nutty Professor, Dr. Doolittle,
Sherman.
Shrek, Adventures of Pluto Nash. That was a huge hit.
Hey, so
you skipped
Oh, no,
Metro.
no,
What
no.
about Metro?
The Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
It was Metro.
I
with
actually
Robert De Niro.
really like Metro. No.
I thought you were
Metro?
saying I really liked Haunted Mansion.
Metro was actually pretty good.
Metro
Yeah,
with
you're
Michael
right.
Rappaport and
Yeah.
the guy who played Sheriff of Nottingham's. He played the bad guy in Crow, like that bad guy, that French. He's not French, I guess, but he's the guy that talks like. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
he
talking
has
about?
that
The big-
weird voice,
That
yeah.
weird
his
voice.
dreads.
But he almost
Yeah.
seems like he's French Canadian or something like that too. But he's the main bad guy in Metro. That's like
Right.
dark
Eddie Murphy
elements.
had the
in that
dreads,
movie.
remember?
Yeah, he had the little. Yeah, and that I love that.
Yeah.
I thought Metro was really good and kind of underrated. He did Bowfinger.
Bowfinger. Yeah.
Around that time period, which was big, and like people still reference that he played two characters in that movie.
Yep.
And with Steve Martin, that's a great one.
Steve Martin. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he did the voice in Mulan for the dragon, or didn't he play a dragon in 2 movies? He did it. He didn't do he bangs a dragon in the Shrek
Yeah,
movies.
the donkey.
That's so
Dragon-
fucked up.
Dragon donkey baby.
Did we ever let our fucking minds
Shrek
wrap around
is
that?
a very. I think that's why Shrek appealed to such a an
Wasn't
adult
just for
audience.
kids.
It was like it was like Family Guy. Like it.
Yeah.
Like you could watch it on the surface and just hear like the silly, goofy,
Mm-hmm.
physical comedy or whatever, and then the adults are like, "Fuck, did I just say?"
Yeah.
Like, what were they implying? What's the innuendo?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think
There's a lot of
and,
that in Shrek.
And people, what do people remember from the Shrek movies more than anything is Donkey, and they did what 4 of those?
Yeah, I love Shrek. I watched that movie like I bought that when it came out and I watched it like 100 times. Like I love that movie.
Yeah, and Eddie Murphy brings that whole thing, and he improvises
I mean,
a lot of stuff, and he
They're
really,
both Eddie Murphy and
Mike
Mike
Myers.
Myers.
Yeah, totally.
And Cameron Diaz is great. Like it's just
They're
a
all
great
great.
story.
It
It's
is a
like
great story.
they're making fun of like
Right.
the Disney.
But in terms of when you
happy
mention
ending.
Shrek, what are the first 2 things you think of? You think of Shrek and you think of Donkey. You know what I mean? Like that's
I think of Shrek, but then Donkey.
that's what I'm saying. You think of Shrek,
Donkey's his sidekick.
right?
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy, fucking just bringing it back. Yeah,
I
but
wonder if they ever met actually, because I'm sure those actors came in the studio and
press
like.
tours. They have to do that.
Yeah, but they probably recorded everything like
Separate.
separate places of the planet or whatever. Did all their dialogue with someone else, and then you know, it's
Yeah.
such a weird thing because they've done so many of these movies where they're all featured in the movie.
Yeah.
And they're all talking seemingly to each other, but they probably never hung out or never met. And
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy was long gone from SNL when Mike Myers came on, right?
It was a few years separate. But then you have so then Eddie Murphy's doing comedy for 20 some odd years, and then all of a sudden he had little dramatic elements in some of those movies, but then all of a sudden he comes in and does Dreamgirls, where he wanted that role because he was a big fan of Dreamgirls. Used to see it all the time on Broadway when he was doing SNL.
Yeah.
Dreamgirls was on Broadway, and he used to watch it all the time. And he's like, I could sing those fucking songs. I can hit those notes. That's my range.
Yeah.
And it was Jack. What's the character? Earl Haley. What is it? The hell is his
James
fucking-
Thunder?
James Thunder Early or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James Thunder Early.
And he's so good in it. Like he plays kind of this Marvin Gaye-esque character who does the similar transition that Marvin Gaye had, where he kind of went into the more what's going on period after he did that early Motown stuff. And he was so good. He was nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
You know, and it just showed that, wow, this guy doesn't lose it. Yes, he might be choosing the wrong movies. And by the way, he says he's done with those. Like a couple years ago, he said he's like, I'm done making those paycheck movies. Like I did those long enough. I made good money off of them. He's like,
Which paycheck movies?
Just like 1,000 Words. He did where it's the one where there's a tree with 1,000 leaves on it, and he's only got for each leaf one word he could say before he loses his voice. It's like kind of like a supernatural.
I've never heard of this movie.
Yeah, it came out 5 years
remember
ago.
that.
Yeah, 1,000 Words, and it was fun, but it's just kind of a throwaway movie, you know. Norbit he was fine in, but it's just sort of like so silly.
Have I never even heard of this movie?
What, 1,000 Words?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally have never even. This is the first
I want to
time
say that's his
I've ever
last
seen it.
one. Oh, he did Meet Dave, where he's like
Dave.
all those little Eddie Murphys.
I do remember
in
that,
the big,
yeah.
And it's sort of like
Tower Heist. I remember.
Tower Heist
liking.
was his was what people were saying was his comeback, but then he didn't follow it up with anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tower Heist was good. He was good in it, and it was kind of people were saying it's his return, and that was the year he was supposed to host the Oscars.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like
They did a Beverly Hills Cop TV show.
yeah, they did a pilot episode, but it didn't get picked up.
Oh, and he was in it.
Yeah, he
apparently?
played like the chief of police or something like that. Or
Oh,
something
weird.
like that. Yeah.
Oh, he did Mr. Church.
Mr. Church's, that was
Which
good.
was really-
which was very dramatic. There was like really
Yeah.
no comedy in that.
Yeah.
And I thought he was great in it.
Yeah,
really good.
I think
in
he's going to
Mr.
be doing. This is great. I'm excited to see some of these black actors that have taken a break.
Yeah.
In Hollywood, come back. Will Smith is doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy's doing a lot of stuff. Dave Chappelle is doing.
He came back with a fist, man.
With a fist.
With these stand-up comedy shows have all been fire. Dave
He's been in
Chappelle
a lot of movies too.
So, yeah, he's been
surprisingly,
in a-
He
yeah.
showed up
Little-
in
little cameos or whatever.
showed up in
Starship.
yeah.
Star Girl.
Born-
Star.
Star is Born.
Star is Born. I know.
Yeah.
Something.
So
Lady Gaga enter the starship.
Into
Anyway.
the starship. Yeah. Into the starship.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga. Yeah. So I'm excited to see
Yeah.
what he brings
Yeah.
back.
Oh,
into
yeah.
this.
This is the moment
It's,
I've been waiting
yeah.
for. I've been waiting for this for a long time because I said early in the earlier podcast, I said that his beyond just the way I first discovered Eddie Murphy's stand-up was I was going on a road trip with my dad, and I went to music, maybe Sam Goody or something like that, and I went to the comedy section for the tape cassettes.
Yeah.
And I was going through the comedy things, and I found a tape, and it was Eddie Murphy. He had this little no shirt on, but he had like a bow tie. I was like, "What's this?" And I listened to it like 15 times on on the way to where we were going. It was like a 6-hour road trip or whatever. I listened to it like fucking. And the whole way back as well. And I listened to it nonstop, and then I found he had another tape, and then I ended up getting a CD of his greatest hits comedy. So he's like 3 albums.
Yeah.
And there's stuff on there you've never heard. Like there are stand-up routines you've never heard on these albums, and they're amazing.
Yeah.
They're so fucking good, and I
Yeah.
was obsessed with his stand-up from that point. That's where I found Delirious and Raw and stuff like that.
It's just funny how a shirtless guy with a bow tie actually got you to buy something.
It's 2019. You homophobic still?
I'm just saying.
No.
I'm
It
talking
was,
about you.
no, it's because it was Eddie Murphy. I was obsessed. I loved Eddie Murphy's movies at that point, but I had never seen his stand-up. So I loved his Saturday Night Live stuff. I hadn't seen at that point.
We
know,
thought you were
Gumby,
attracted
damn it.
to a naked man. With
Yeah,
a,
that's what I'm saying.
I was
I mean,
also
not that there's
that.
anything wrong with
He
that.
has like a little
Yeah.
flower in his hair.
I don't
too,
need to correct
think.
myself. I wasn't think there was anything wrong with it. I'm just saying towards Nick, not towards the
We
culture.
didn't even mention, by the way.
Rein it in,
Rein it in.
Jake. Back
Bringing it back in. Anyways, can you
No,
tell
by
me
the way,
about
we didn't even talk. By the way, we didn't
I
even
love
talk
when
about his
people-
SNL characters like Gumby, damn it. I'm Gumby, damn it, or his Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is how you answer the door in my neighborhood.
I feel
Who
like
is it?
There's so many characters that you're always going to find a person who knows who Eddie Murphy is and connects with someone.
Something, yeah,
For me,
exactly.
it's probably Life. His character. in
Life is your
in that
in
movie.
to Eddie Murphy.
I mean, obviously, all the SNL stuff. Like, I loved all that stuff, but I really liked that movie, Life. Like, that was a movie that was like, he's fucking amazing in that movie. I mean, they're both are him and Martin Lawrence. The whole cast actually is fantastic.
Yeah.
it's
Oh
great.
man.
Well, I'm excited. I hope to get
Dolomite is my name. Netflix.
Dolomite's my name. Netflix. Then a couple of stand-ups. So I'm excited.
Coming
see
to
all
America
this.
too.
Coming to
It's
America
also-
too.
Yeah, they're
And,
filming it now.
and
Same-
possibly other stuff.
Same director
Yeah.
as Dolomite is my name, and Wesley Snipes is in both of them with Eddie Murphy. He's
Oh,
in
nice.
Coming to America 2 and Dolomite is my name.
I like
Yep.
Wesley
Surprise,
Snipes.
surprise.
Yeah, he's coming back.
Surprise.
Yeah, he's coming back with Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see those.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us here at Get to the Movies. That's Get to the Movies with the number 2. My name is Tiago D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambito.
And I'm Neil Carson.
And I'm going to get the fuck out of here. Because y'all just getting on my damn nerves. And I'm just going to go. Because this is ridiculous.
Mom, the ice cream man is coming. Throw down some money. The ice cream man is coming.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.